Right, so before I leave, I just wanted to ask you a few questions to make sure I got them in. So one is you know, what is some of your advice for us, for younger generations?
Never give up hope. That's one. And stay with the church. No place, nothing can replace it. It's wonderful. You know, we had a ceremony in our church just a couple of weeks ago from a fellow who was a hero in World War II. He was a fighter pilot, not a fighter pilot, but fighter pilot in the war, and won several medals and so on. And he retired, came to our church and sang in the choir. And it was very popular, he and his wife. At any rate, he was cremated 8 years ago, and they just shipped his remains, he and his wife's remains, back to our church just this week. And they had a ceremony, a memorial ceremony for him. One of the stories they told about him, he used to sing in our choir, and somebody asked him one day, what's the choir going to sing today? And he said, gosh, now there's the punchline. Nobody knows. And the funny part of it is, the song we were going to sing is Nobody Knows But Jesus. Nobody knows my troubles but Jesus.
He was right after all.
He was crazy. He was just as good as he could did. He was very popular in our church, and he used we used to have these 4th of July celebrations at the church, and have people come down in uniform. But he'd come down in his Navy uniform. He had a dress uniform, white uniform with white gloves, a saber, and he put everybody else to shame. He was so good. He's just a great guy, though. And
that's great. Do you have a favorite memory from just any memory that makes you really happy to think about, or just your favorite story to tell, or something like that? I know I'm putting you on the spot.
well, I can't think of any. I can think of some wonderful times that are difficult times. We went camping at over where the Wright brothers did their in the ocean, and we went swimming there, and they had no guards. And the day we did, we had rafts out, and there was a land breeze. Betty had got on that, and she was just about to go out to sea, and wind going running around. I swam as hard as I could, and I finally got her off of that raft, and the raft went floating off of the. It just scared the daylights out of me. That was one time. And another time, old John, he was prone to going, when we were camping, he'd go off on the mountain and go climbing down the side of the mountain and looking around for something, and we had trouble finding one time.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah. And another time was your dad, when we were camping, we were in West Virginia, or we were coming back from the north, and we were in our camper, and we had a bicycle on the back of it, and we stopped for the night, and it was I wanted to hook up the camper, and I said, you can take the bike down and just ride around the camp, and he did. And the next thing I did, he didn't show up. And I finally found out that he was over there laying just on the edge of the campground. He'd fallen off the bike. He'd hit a stone or somehow and hit his head, and he had a concussion. I called the office and got them to call the town, which was very close time, and man, in no time they came out with it. First aid people took him into the hospital, and he'd had a concussion. He never remembered that at all. But boy, I was scared to death at night. Thought I was going to have to call up Kathy and tell him what had happened, and it was awful. Hello there.
How you doing?
Oh, you got some mail.
Yep. There you go.
Gosh, thank you.
You're welcome. You have a good night.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Maybe it'd help to put my glasses on. Anyhow. So I had some good times with my dad. He was always a joker, and I mentioned about his three fingers, and they had a manufactured home in Florida. You know what they are? They used to call them mobile homes, and Florida's full of them. And they owned one, and we'd always go down and see them in the winter when we were working. We had an umbrella tent. We set it up in the camper area, where we could. One time, the next morning we woke up and there were 2 inches of water in the floor of the umbrella tent. And he got his neighbor to open their place up, and he took us in. Then I had another fellow that played the flute, was a good friend of mine, a tennis player, incidentally, and he went on a tour with us in Canada, a bus, and he played the flute. He took his flute along with him. He sat in the back of the bus and played that flute. And everybody in the bus loved it. And he was a nice guy.
So have you loved and played tennis ever since you played it in the street growing up, like you were telling me about?
Yes. Well, off and on, it's about 80 years, really.
Yeah.
Almost.
I don't think I ever beat you in a single match.
I don't remember that. We went to 2 national tournaments.
Oh.
Mine in doubles. I had a good partner. We went to St. Louis, and we went to the thing in Florida, what is it, Disney World.
Yeah.
They had a national tournament there. We had great times at those. Had a lot of fun with tennis. They played in Decatur Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. At 7, break of light. And we were 75, and I was 80 years old, I think, when I was playing there. But I gave my record away.
Yeah.
It was great fun.
Today my mom reminded me of what you always used to say when we messed up. You know what I'm talking about? The expression you would use?
No.
I always remember you saying, "And that's where you dropped your candy."
That's where you're talking. Well, that's one way to put it anyway. Well, gee whiz.
I guess you got to get to dinner pretty soon.
No, I don't. I'm no hurry. But you.
Well, is there anything else you want to make sure you say, or the floor is yours if there's anything else you want to say.
There was one time on one of our maneuvers that we were working with, and we were working around the clock. And, you know, we were at higher headquarters for the regular Army, and we had to be on the go all night long. But and one time I was just, gosh, what are we doing? I don't know, what are we doing here? And I almost gave up. But I realized that there's going to be a better time, and there's always some better time. Never lose hope.
All right, I think that's a pretty good note to end on,
You know,
if you ask me.
let me show you this, well, in just a minute. I've got what they call good courses. These are all courses by college professors on different subjects.
That's right. And these
Did I show you
DVDs
that?
here,
Yeah, those, they're over there on your left,
or over here?
up on the top.
Yes, I see those.
And some of those I haven't even looked at, but they're not cheap. But they're all different subjects. One's on what's the Kepler? What's the thing that's floating around the sky? Not the
Moon,
no the
sun.
the observatory.
Oh, the International Space Station,
No.
Hubble Space Telescope.
Yeah, that too. But this is on we've got a periscope out there.
You were talking about it. I think there's a Kepler telescope as
that-
well, something like that.
Yeah.
Do you have a lesson on that?
Yeah,
Very cool.
and on other things too. And they're excellent. They pick the best professors they got to do these things. And the nice part of it is, you get one that you don't like, you can exchange it for one that you do like. You can't get your money back, but you can get another course.
Oh, there you go.
And how can you lose? Some of my Madeline scoffs at me because I spent a lot of money on them.
You know, that made me think of something. Do you have a favorite movie, a favorite book? That's always a tough question.
I don't know how to answer that.
No, that's all right. I'm not sure what mine is either.
Well, I always enjoyed, Betty liked the cowboy,
John Wayne.
John Wayne.
Yeah.
She loved him. And I enjoyed him too. I don't know whether I ever showed you that crazy thing up top there.
Oh, the sculpture there in the boat.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Somebody made that out of junk.
Wow. Well, let's see. I don't want to keep you from dinner here.
No, you're not keeping me from
Right.
anything. So how are your brothers working out? Are they all doing good?
Yes, they're all doing great.
Fantastic.
You know, Parker's a senior in high school now, or he's about to start his senior year.
He's a what?
He's about to start his last year of high school.
Wow.
So pretty soon he's going to be in college too, and
Fantastic.
he gets to enjoy the excitement of, you know, the whole application process now is a real mess, and that's going to be no fun for him. But I get to laugh at him again because I remember that, but I already did it, so. But maybe I can provide some help as well.
I hope so. That'd be
Yeah.
great. Yeah.
And Michael's doing well,
Yeah.
and has a real interest in his science classes, which is cool, and so
Great.
I'm hoping he really
Now,
gets hooked
musically-
on those.
Musically, who's what now?
Well, Parker's playing tuba in the band, and Michael is playing baritone in the band right now. It's not too long ago that he was playing some violin, and Jonah is playing cello still, and he played trumpet in middle school, but he picked football over band for this year. So Parker and Michael are in marching band, and Jonah's in football.
Fantastic.
And my mom is just all over town to try and get them to all of their commitments.
Oh, brother.
But
That's wonderful.
everyone's enjoying it,
That
so
is
it's been good.
fantastic. That is really good. I'm glad to see them using their musical opportunity that she had. That's wonderful.
Yeah, it's been great. You know, I didn't realize you played so much saxophone. I guess I just hadn't thought about it, but I'd seen those pictures of you in Allstate. That's pretty
Wow.
cool.
It was an interesting experience. I at one time thought about taking up music for a career, but my best friend in East Lansdowne, his father played the Philadelphia Orchestra, played the French horn, and I got to know him pretty well because when I'd go to see his son Pete, he'd be there and he'd pick up that instrument every 5 minutes and be tooting on it, and he got a lot of free tickets for him, and Pete always took me with him to the Philadelphia Orchestra to some great concerts and operas, and it was just fantastic. But after a few years, he lost his job to younger people because in French horn it's very severe about your embouchure, and he had to take a job in Baltimore and commute back and forth to Baltimore. And I saw that in Philadelphia there are hundreds of starving musicians. It seemed like. So I said, that's not for me.
Right. You have to get paid.
Yeah. But I had a lot of great experiences in music. In fact, my other friend that lived across the street, his father was head of the Philadelphia Transit Company band. He was the director of the band, and his son was a couple of years older than me, but we were play buddies together. And he took us both into playing the band in there on Monday nights. They had Monday night rehearsals, and we'd got to sit in the big adult band. We're the only kids, and so we had some good experiences. And they'd have a summer thing. They'd always have a big concert in the amusement park in the city, and then they played the Mummers Parade on New Year's Day, and so we played in that. We had a lot of fun.
So well, go ahead.
You know, my mother was got my interest in music because she played the piano every night when we went to bed. If we were still in cradles. We lived in it's called a bungalow. As you know, the bungalow is the second floor is really the attic. But in our house it was developed as a bedroom, and then you had curbs, stairway down. So we boys had our beds upstairs, and when we were little, they didn't want us to be coming down those steps. So they had me call out, "Jimmy, Jimmy, Jimmy," and my father would come up and carry us down on his shoulders to go to the bathroom. But I don't know, my parents were not very educated, but they had a lot of experiences. And my dad worked hard to do what he did. And you know, when they built his house, cars were just coming in then. He built a two-car garage himself. He's a cement block, and rented it out to people with cars. He's still riding a bicycle back and forth to work. and my wife will never forget, we bought the house from him later on after the war. And Betty still remembers seeing John and Charlie with their no clothing on, climbing up a garage. Their trellis on the side of that garage, getting up on the roof. Oh, jeez. Well, I guess you got a good opportunity there. Is Purdue a state college, or is that a
It's a public university,
public
yes.
university?
Yes, it is. So it's got some, you know, to tell you the truth, I don't understand how it works very well, but I know they have some funding from the state.
Hey, what?
They have some funding from the state
Yeah.
because of that, so that's nice, I suppose.
I think I told you about seeing the first computer.
No, you didn't tell me about that, I don't think.
Ames has a patent on the first digital computer. It took them after the war to get it. And I saw the first one that they had. It was in the basement of the physics building in 1938. The basement of the physics building just covered with vacuum tubes.
Wow. It was the first ever digital computer, huh?
And then it turns out that the way this is developed, this is proved in court. Somebody from the University of Pennsylvania on their staff came out and saw that and copied it and took it back to Philadelphia, and they made the ENIAC computer. That was the first one. And Ames never had the time or what, did not get the credit for it until after the war, and then they had a big court suit to prove this.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
How big was the computer?
I don't know anything besides what I saw, just to see all those.
I just mean like like physically.
Uh,
Just because they're so much bigger than computers now, like it probably took up a whole room, right, or more.
I can't answer that. I don't know.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's all right.
all I saw was this huge array of vacuum tubes.
Bigger than computers now.
Oh yes, yes, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to make you late for dinner. I think now I actually am
How
about
long does
to.
it take you to get home from here?
A couple hours, maybe a
That's
little
not
less.
bad.
Yeah, it's not so bad.
That's pretty quick. And old Dan's getting real happy. Been looking at houses
In Nashville, it's
no, not Nashville, South. The little town where you're
Franklin.
Franklin.
Yes.
Franklin.
Yeah, can you believe that? He might end up down there
Well,
with us. Or near us.
he stopped there twice and looked at houses and stuff.
Yes, yeah, he's looking at the house my uncle, one of the houses he's looked at is a house that my uncle on my mom's side
Oh,
might move out of. So that's a funny
is that
coincidence.
right?
Yeah. It'd be interesting if that happened.
well, they've been pretty good to him up there at Abbott. And I think they keep him so happy that he doesn't want to quit for a while.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to.
Yeah, from what I understand, everyone is trying to get him to retire, but
Yeah,
he won't do it.
yeah.
But I guess if he likes it, he better just stay for a while.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I could get him on the phone at the lab. They don't mind him talking on the phone, so
Well, that's nice.
it's just fine.
Well, I know that everyone will be happy to see this. It's nice being pretty close. I can come down and see you. I know, we've got Alberts all the way on the other side of the country, and they'll be happy to see this. So thanks for taking the time to do it. I really appreciate it.
Well, I'm glad to do it. I just wish I could make it more cohesive. But,
No, this was very good.
But I certainly wish you good luck in your schooling and in your driving. I never did see your car. What do you got?
Well, I'm driving my parents' car right now, but I, for college, got a Toyota Matrix, which is
Toyota?
like it's a little
Toyota?
hatchback.
We had a Toyota Camry back in the early days.
Yes. Yeah, those cars are still all over the place.
That's fantastic.
All right. Well, thanks again, Bebop. This was great.
Thank you for doing it, buddy.